Hey guys, this is actually my second time filming this, so I'm not going through it with you, but I'll explain what everything is. And basically what this video is about is I'm showcasing my bullet journal system for language learning. And yeah, the reason I'm doing it online instead of in an actual journal is because my handwriting is atrocious, as you will see as I kind of started to handwrite some things later on. And then the other issue is that being self-employed, I have clients and stuff, so I just didn't want to share that specific journal and the pages, but I still wanted to give you guys an overview of what it was like. So the two main spreads that I use, I have a monthly spread and a weekly spread. To start out, the monthly spread, and I'm using Greek as an example, I usually put the month at the top, the Cimbrios here, and then I have the weeks separately. So this December is about 4 weeks. Weeks is Evdomada, and the Diotria Desra, right? Then in between those, and I only did one here, is I have the initial of the first day of the week, or all of the days. I didn't put all of them here, but I technically could. Let's see. We've got what? Will it let me do this? Theo, Triti, Tetarti. I don't know. You can maybe put in there. I actually need to look up what these are in Greek. I've just been kind of going based off the thing. MD. Paraskevi. PA, Sabato. And then Kiriaki. Okay, so I'll do those and then I'll have the day next to it. So for example, today is the 1st, and so on. Here we have Deftera, Monday the 5th, and I usually do this so I can kind of get an overview of different events that are going on. It's not the daily stuff, but it's the weekly stuff, the stuff that's less common. And I do this in both the monthly and the weekly. I list them both places, which you'll see, and that helps with repetition, but it's not like mindless repetition. It feels like you're just getting used to writing the words, and I find it very useful. So here we have calling my mother at 11:30 in Greek. Telio nous it's the end of the day for me, sorry guys. Telioniste meti mama. So that's what that is, and I would do that for basically every day of the week. I'd include holidays, different things like that. It can be fun if you look at your target language that cultures holidays as well. Here we have two different boxes. The first one, ta katikonda, is basically what I'm using for tasks. The typical word for work is tulia. I think I could use that, but because I'm basically adding personal tasks as well as work tasks, I wanted a general term, and I may, as you learn, you find better words to use, so this may not be the right word. The biggest thing is I'd rather use the wrong word that's kind of similar to the word I'm using than not have a word at all. I would rather just learn the difference and be corrected later. So it's something to ask my tutor. I've just started using Greek in my journal, so I haven't done that yet. Then I have a thing here for notes. Semiosis. And then again, I list the weeks, and here I would have kind of a general goal or kind of a big task that I wanted to do over the course of that week. Under tasks here, I have clients. So this is client 1, Pilates, Ena, and then here I have like practice Greek, Askume Alenika. And that's the monthly spread. And here, you can do a lot of stuff here. You don't have to have notes. You can have food journal, you can have resources, you can have just a habit tracker, like little boxes for each day, or you could do that here. There's really anything you could put here. Mine is just not quite as interesting, I suppose. But I put general ideas, things that happen throughout the month, organizational thoughts, and I try to put them in the target language whenever possible. Here under weekly, I like to put the days in that week as well as the month. As you can see, this became different than it was here. It's because it takes generative case, so you learn a lot of fun things about dates. So normally starting out, if you're an absolute beginner in the language, just use the day. If you're starting to learn more about sentence structure and you've learned how to say like on Monday, for example, as I have here, I would start using sentences for that day line. So here I have the deftara pao sto magazi. So on Monday, I go to the store. I could also say tapao, so I will go to the store. You can use future tense. And then if you're reflecting on it, so let's say, it's the end of Monday, I'm about to write Tuesday's section, I would write, maybe the same phrase in the past tense, just to get used to writing in tenses without it being boring. Here, you saw scribbles because I started to write with my with my pen. So normally underneath each day, I have the different time slots, and then within each time slot, I have the different things. So I might have breakfast, topori, salata, something I'm making for later, things like that. Different work tasks, and I have that throughout the day. Check it off, and I do that for every day. When I get down to Saturday, Sunday, Sabato, Kiriaki, I basically just have the day and a few tasks. I try not to structure those days too much, but you can still get the bullet journaling in here. And again, the second page of the spread is basically very similar to the monthly one, right? So we have tasks and we have notes, and in between here, instead of the overview of each week, we have the overview of each day. And this basically is usually pulled from what we did here in the monthly spread, and you can add other stuff here too. And again, this notes section can be food journal. You can add the food journal or different things here in the days. You can have resources. You can have goals for that week. This can be anything. I just like to write notes. I might write short sentences. I might do last minute notes, and whenever possible. It's not always possible to do it in your target language if you're just learning, but the goal is to eventually have it so both spreads are completely in the target language. And then once you get into a point where you're writing longer sentences and you feel very comfortable and you don't have to think about it as much, then I would recommend switching to a diary kind of setup. And if you want to use more than one language, I would not recommend it. I've tried it. It's very cluttered. It can be more time consuming. This only takes me about 5 to 10 minutes every night to do. So instead, I would recommend doing it in one language first over the course of 1 to 3 months, maybe more, depending on your pacing. And then once you feel comfortable with that, switch it to the next language slowly and start to replace things. So instead of saying, for example, under teftara for Monday, instead of like toporoi, if I wanted to say the breakfast, I would instead, maybe if I wanted to start learning Japanese, I would say asagohan and do it in the hiragana or the kanji. If I wanted to switch this into Japanese, and do that until everything that was Greek or everything that was your first target language becomes your second target language. That's how I would recommend doing it, and that's how I've been doing it. And this is pretty much the system. It's simple, it's easy, it's fast. It's not necessarily as pretty. You can beautify it and change it however you want, but I find this is just very efficient and it keeps me focused on the language itself. I hope it was helpful. Let me know in the comments. Thanks.